Hey guys, we have an anime channel called Mystic Sage, where I do a lot of anime stuff. If you like anime, consider checking it out. I will leave a link for that and for the most recent video I posted down in the description below and in the icon above. We also have merch on sale if any of these shirts look cool to you, like Shepherd's Delight. Go check that out in the description as well. On one of my most recent Best Team uploads, the Best Team Legendary Mythical Team, I got a comment that sparked me a really cool idea. Why don't I do a Best Team video for every type of Pokemon? I thought about it for a little bit and decided that it would be a fun way to branch out the Best Team series even more. So we're gonna get started right here. If you remember some of my opinion videos I've done on all the Pokemon of a certain type, then you'll probably get why we're gonna be starting the Best Team series with the Dragon type. These teams are sticking with a competitive theme and are meant to be used in Ultra Sun and Moon, as well as Showdown for fun matchups. Just a few ground rules I want to lay down beforehand. Firstly, Pokemon will not repeat on these teams. For example, if Gardevoir is featured on the Best Team for Psychic types, it will not be featured on the Best Team for Fairy types. Keep that in mind if you don't see a certain Pokemon featured on a team, because it may be lending itself to another typing. With that being laid out, let's get started with the Best Team for Dragon types. So we're going to be kicking off this team with the bona fide leader in our Mega Pokemon, Rayquaza. The Mega Rayquaza we're working with today is a bit different from the one that appeared on the Best Team Legendary Mythicals edition, and I based this build off of some of the critiques you guys mentioned in the comment section of that video. It's not too wildly different from what's known and what's loved, but I think it's definitely better than it was before. We're going to start off with reiterating Mega Rayquaza's ability to be a sweeper, and we've gone and enhanced that big time by switching out the Choice Scarf for the Choice Band. It's going to lock Rayquaza into whatever attack it's using as it was with the Scarf, but naturally that's a fine trade-off for just how hard it will be hitting opposing Pokemon. The stat distribution is the usual, 252 in attack and speed, with the Jelly nature upping the speed to a maximum of 361. While the boost in speed with the Choice Scarf would be really nice, the Choice Band sets Rayquaza up to go from his 459 attack right up to 688. With the moveset chosen, this item in Mega Rayquaza's Delta Stream ability, killing off any weather changes upon its switch-in. The only thing you'd really need to worry about is making sure whatever move you end up locked into is good enough to run roughshod on the opposing team of Pokemon. Speaking of those moves, let's get into them. Now, like I said, I really listened to you guys in the comment section of the Best Team Legendaries and Mythicals video and changed things up for this moveset. Gone is V-Create, which was an event-exclusive move, and in its place is Outrage. We've also gone and replaced Waterfall with Extreme Speed and kept Iron Head and of course Dragon Ascent. Dragon Ascent is the move that is necessary for Rayquaza to Mega Evolve in the first place, and it packs amazing power along with 100% accuracy to give you a great move you can go sweeping with right at the bat. Mega Rayquaza's defense and special defense will both go down a stage each time you use a move, so I recommend being smart about its usage against certain teams. While the 361 speed is definitely nothing to sneeze at, it won't outspeed everything, so you've got to be careful. However, if you do want to outspeed everything, you could turn to the next move, Extreme Speed. Extreme Speed carries priority along with 80 base power. I'd recommend only turning to it when you've done over half damage or so to a Pokemon as a quick kill move, and then getting Rayquaza out of the battle unless you're confident with whatever the next Pokemon will be, should there be any more for it to battle. Next we've got Iron Head, which will fill the same purpose as it always has for fairy Pokemon that may try to oppose Rayquaza. Xerneas will not enjoy that Choice Band boosted Iron Head, for example. Also, since we did away with the idea of V-Create being on this set, it will also help for those pesky ice types that do 4 times damage to Mega Rayquaza. Also, as I always like to mention, a 30% chance to flinch is just awesome. Hacks is part of the game no matter how you feel about it, and you should try to take advantage of it where you can. Finally, we have a nice stab move for Rayquaza taking advantage of the Dragon typing, Outrage. Outrage is base 120 attack with 100% accuracy, and the same thing as Dragon Ascent. Since we're using the Choice Span, the fact you're locked into Outrage for 2 or 3 turns is almost a moot point, and with the amount of power behind it, it'll hit hard just like Dragon Ascent does. The only drawback here is that Mega Rayquaza will end up confused after Outrage comes to an end, but that can be worked around and less detrimental than the outcome of using Dragon Ascent. If the Choice Band is used effectively and with care, Mega Rayquaza could sweep most teams out there, should the right conditions be met. If not as a sweeper though, it could easily come in and handle most major threats if need be. We're going to take a look at a bit of a different take on Garchomp with our next spot on this list. While Garchomp is an extremely powerful Pokemon, it also can serve itself to being a nice setup Pokemon with some abilities to stall. With this entry on the Best Team Dragon Edition, we've got a Garchomp taking full advantage of its Rough Skin. With Rough Skin, all moves that directly connect with this pseudo-legendary cause the attacking Pokemon to lose 1/8 of their max HP. We're going to be throwing a Rocky Helmet onto Garchomp as well to cause the attacker to lose 1/6 of their HP on top of that Rough Skin damage. If you couldn't tell from just that, this won't be your average offensive monster Garchomp you see all the time. Now, had I decided to do Mega Garchomp over Mega Rayquaza, then yeah, he'd have a hard-hitting machine, but Mega Garchomp is also trash. Since that isn't how things worked out though, this Garchomp is all about hurting people. You guessed it, residually. We want Garchomp to be plenty fast while still gaining more bulk, so we're giving him 252 EVs in speed and HP, with the HP total of 420 and a 333 speed stat thanks to the Jolly nature we're going to employ. Garchomp will be able to contest the speed of quite a few Pokemon to do its job. The moveset we're going with for Garchomp is Stealth Rocks, Toxic, Roar, and Earthquake. I would figure if you couldn't have guessed it yet, you definitely understand what we're doing with Garchomp here. It was the best option to do this with a team of Dragon types, and I think it's a role that this popular Pokemon could run with. Stealth Rocks are a must for a lot of competitive teams already, but their presence here goes in tandem with the inclusion of Roar on this Pokemon. Once the rocks are set up, Garchomp can roar the opposing Pokemon to start a merry-go-round of destruction. It'll be next Mon up as damage is chipped away from everyone until Garchomp can't go anymore. Working alongside those two moves is Toxic, which is a nice parting move for Garchomp to dump on whatever Pokemon might be on the verge of defeating it. With Roar, you're setting up the potential to not just chip away the HP of every Pokemon that switches in, but if things go 100% your way, you could end up severely poisoning every Pokemon on the opposing team. Fear not though, I can hear some of you typing up a storm about how this isn't the way to use Garchomp or something like that, and you don't need to worry. We throw on his best move Earthquake just to give him that strong offensive stab, if he has got to deal some damage through a more direct approach. This is most certainly not the usual Garchomp you tend to see out there, but I really like to bring you guys good sets, and the best team videos aren't just the same things you see constantly, but instead unique and just if not more viable than the common sets. Garchomp is going to be at 297 attack, so its Earthquake is more so going to be used as a move that takes a Pokemon out that's close to defeat more so than trying to one-hit KO. Keep in mind that this Garchomp only really just needs to set up the Stealth Rock to be useful, but it's got a couple of other nifty tricks to catch an opponent off guard and really cripple their team. We move to Alola for the third Pokemon on this team, Comeau. Fighting and Dragon is a pretty cool typing, and putting them together gives you a nice offensive Pokemon in Comeau. It's actually kind of funny to call it that, as its defense is the highest base stat at 125. When it comes to the Pokemon like Comeau, you're going to definitely want to give it its own signature Z Crystal to help make it even more viable, and of course that's what we're doing. The Commonium Z helps turn the move Clanging Skills into Clangorous Soul Blaze, a move we'll get into a little bit later. Comeau is going to be strictly an offensive weapon in the sense that we're going to ride it until we can't no more. While I could have won a route that took full advantage of that 125 base defense, and perhaps a more crafted some sort of physical wall, it seemed best to choose Comeau as a hard-hitting right now type of Pokemon, where no setup is needed and it just gets straight to the point. I gave this pseudo Pokemon 252 EVs in its speed and attack and the naive nature, boosting the speed while lowering the special defense. As you can see, I've taken a great focus on speed with this team so far. Also, I ended up going with Soundproof for the ability this Comeau will use, as Bulletproof didn't seem to make much sense, as many of the moves that are covered by Bulletproof don't really worry Comeau anyway. There was also Overcoat as its hidden ability, but that didn't seem all that worth it either. So Soundproof it is, just in case it runs into a Mega Gardevoir or something running Hyper Voice. Gotta say though, even if you do have Soundproof to handle that move anyway, if you're a Comeau facing off with a Mega Gardevoir, you should probably get out. The moveset I picked out for Comeau is Clanging Scales, Drain Punch, Poison Jab, and Close Combat. Like I referenced earlier, Clanging Scales is part of the set to go along with the Commonium Z, which turns into Clangorous Soul Blaze. Clangorous Soul Blaze remains a Dragon type move, like Clanging Scales, and its base power shoots up to 185 from Clanging Scales 110. The real nice part of this signature Z move though is that all 5 of Comeau's stats go up a stage following a successful hit. I should also mention that if you do end up going back to using Clanging Scales after Clangorous Soul Blaze, it's going to lower your defense by a stage with every usage. So you should keep in mind that while Comeau gets a 1 stage boost in all of its stats, it has 2 moves at its disposal that lower its defenses when they're successful. Close Combat packs such a massive punch that with 120 base attack, it's very worth the defense drops. Following that, we've got another fighting type move, Drain Punch. Drain Punch is a very solid base 75 power move that will give Comeau back 50% of the damage to its HP, and with it being stabbed, you can expect it to get some good health back under the right conditions. Finally, we close out the moveset of Alola Pseudo Legend with Poison Jab. This one should be obvious as the Fairy typing will hit Comeau for 4 times weakness. Poison Jab will help handle any lingering grass types that don't carry an extra typing that neutralizes the super effectiveness of Poison Jab, but it's almost exclusively there to fight against the Fairy type if need be. Like I said earlier, you preferably do not want to let Comeau be your Pokemon that does battle Fairy types, but if you have no choice and perhaps in the process of sweeping an opposing team, Poison Jab has your back. I can already imagine some of you Generation 1 fans have been waiting for Dragonite to appear, and don't you worry, I've got it. Yet another hard-hitting Dragon type has arrived, and I'm a really big fan of this one. The ability I've picked for Dragonite is Multiscale, which has all damage Dragonite takes when it's sitting at full HP. If your opponent has Stealth Rock set up, it's going to throw a wrench into things a little. Dragonite is graced with a 134 base attack, and we're only going to juice it up some more by making it adamant and giving it 252 EVs in attack and speed. That 259 speed isn't all that much to write home about, but the 403 attack is just incredible. incredible. It may not be as high as Mega Rayquaza's, but for a pseudo legendary, it's just the cream of the crop. 323 base HP is what Dragonite has to work with, so it has some moderate bulk as well. But the not so great defenses are something we're going to have to work around. Dragonite is going to be set up to boost its attack and speed and enable it to be an option of sweeping the opponent's team, much like we were hoping Comeau and Mega Rayquaza are able to accomplish. My moveset for this Dragonite is Dragon Dance, Iron Head, Roost, and Outrage. Dragon Dance is pretty imperative to Dragonite's success, as we're hoping to get at least one off, and doing so should be very possible if our multi-scale remains intact upon switch-in. Dragon Dance ups the user's attack and speed by a stage when used, and you can probably imagine just what the ramifications are if one or two are set up with Dragonite's beautiful 403 attack. Following up, we've got Iron Head, which offers Dragonite all the coverage it needs. Rock types? Pfft, good luck. Fairy types? Yeah, you're done. Ice types? Pfft, you're screwed. All of Dragonite's weaknesses, outside of the obvious ones, are pretty handled by one well-placed Iron Head, and it's incredibly useful. Plus, you guys know how much I love this. It's got a 30% chance to flinch the opponent. If it's good enough to help protect Mega Rayquaza against its weaknesses, then it's absolutely more than good enough for Dragonite to use as well. I then gave Dragonite the move Roost so it can recover its HP, and hopefully end up taking advantage of the effects of multi-scale all over again. Remember, in order to have the effect of multi-scale kick in, you need to be at full HP, and Roost will go a long way in helping that cause. The more turns you find yourself at full HP of Dragonite, the more opportunities you're going to have to D-dance up. Finally, the extremely powerful Outrage makes a return. It's going to be the move you're going to want to use the most, taking advantage of stab and being made ridiculously strong thanks to the boosted attack stat. Dragonite should end up with after you're satisfied with the setup. No other dragon type is going to survive a boosted Outrage, and unless it's a Pokemon that flat out resists the dragon type or isn't affected by it at all, nothing else will survive it either. Oh, don't think I forgot about the item for Dragonite either. We've got the all-purpose Lumberry on this beast, here to break it out of the confusion of Outrage after the 2 to 3 turn period, or to stop a burn should an opponent figure out what we were trying to do with Dragon Dance. Dragonite is set up for any competent competitive player to take advantage of its great moveset and some very powerful stats. Let's reach into the world of Pokemon Black and White 2 and pull out White Kirim for the 5th spot on our team. While Kirim is a pretty cool choice, I think, it's a really cool, nice DNA splice fusion of Kirim and Reshiram, and it brings some good qualities from both of them. A massive 170 special attack stat stands out right off the bat, opening us up to prep as the hard-hitting special attacker we've sort of neglected up to this point. While Kirim doesn't just have great special attack, it's also got a very solid HP set of 391. What we obviously want to do is take that obscenely high special attack stat and max it out even more, so I'm giving White Kirim 252 EVs in both special attack and speed. The nature I decided to give it is probably a bit obvious. Modest gives it a boost in special attack or hurting the physical attack stat, so it's perfect for this build. I don't want to forget to mention Turbo Blaze, the great ability that White Kirim gets as a carryover when it's a Reshiram. All of White Kirim's moves and the effects of those moves ignore the abilities of other Pokemon, very much in the same vein as Mold Breaker. Want to hit a Pokemon that has a Levitate ability with a ground type move? You've got it. Want to connect it with a Hyper Voice against a soundproof Pokemon? Don't worry, it'll work. Do you want, for whatever reason, to use Swagger on an own tempo spin to and confuse it? Turbo Blaze White Kirim has got you covered. Call it Johnny on the spot. While Kirim's moveset is going to be Draco Meteor, Ice Beam, Fusion Flare, and Roost. Draco Meteor is a must with a strong Dragon type special user, and while it loses out on 2 stages of that special attack for every Draco Meteor it uses, I think it's very much worth using as a massive damage move against just about anything. Ice Beam is another stab move I gave to White Kirim, so it can take out any flying types that come its way, as well as other Dragon types without having to use Draco Meteor right off the bat. Pick one of the two when dealing with the Dragon type, whichever fits the situation better. Either way though, I don't see one happily taking either move unless they've got Steel typing on their side as well. Next up we have Fusion Flare, a must for White Kirim. It's Reshiram's signature move and it packs major firepower, literally. With a base power of 100, Fusion Flare is going to handle over Ice types and more importantly Steel types. Many Steel walls are going to find themselves cursing the day that they ever ran up on this Pokemon, I can assure you that. Rounding out the moveset is Roost, and it's rather important to the grand scheme of things. You see, the item we're giving White Kirim is the Life Orb. The Life Orb will make White Kirim's moves hit 1.3 times harder, but it will lose 1/10 of its health after every attack. With Roost, it will gain 50% of its HP, thus allowing it to keep on going just in case the team you're facing is trying to stall it out for a bit. White Kirim is poised to do some great things as a special attacker, and when you get into battle with it, you'll find out why it's such a popular Pokemon in the Ubers tier. Finally, with the last Pokemon on this team, I knew I was going to need a Pokemon that really opposed the most glaring weaknesses on this team, the Fairy type. There's only one Dragon Pokemon I could turn to in this moment of need, and it is the box art legendary of Pokemon Diamond, Dialga. Dialga is the only Steel-Sass Dragon type Pokemon, and is of Generation 7, the only Dragon type that takes neutral damage from Fairy type attacks. It is completely immune to Poison types, and its Steel typing combined with the Dragon typing gives it a whopping 9 resistances. The only weaknesses it ends up with are the ones a Steel type normally has to deal with, fighting and ground. ground. Imagine that. All that power comes with the dragon typing and absolutely none of the weaknesses. Dialga's great typing enables it to serve as our absolute counter to fairy types. With the stat distribution I decided to give it, we've got the makings of yet another hard-hitting special attacker. I put in 252 EVs for speed and special attack and hooked it up with a timid nature. Dialga's special attack will sit at 399 and speed at 306 after all that, and sets its good defenses to allow it to tank some hits and make up for its speed that isn't super great. Let's get right into the moveset, one that will be boosted with the held item Toy Specs. Dialga's special attacking moveset is going to be Flash Cannon, Thunderbolt, Earth Power, and Draco Meteor. Flash Cannon is an extremely important move in this moveset, enabling Dialga to deal great damage to fairy types that we talked about earlier. It takes advantage of Stab, high special attack, and the Toy Specs to such a degree that almost no fairy, ice, or rock type is going to take more than one. Of course, if any other Pokemon you hit with this move survives, there is a 10% chance they will have their special defense lowered by a stage, and if that happens, it's pretty safe to say that the next Flash Cannon is going to kill. Thunderbolt, if you didn't notice, is the only electric type move on any Pokemon on this best team, and it's just there for coverage. Flying types and water types will get taken out, and it will do good neutral damage to anything else that it's neutral to, with a great chance to paralyze. Earth Power is for other steel types and fire types, and it's got yet another 10% chance to lower the special defense of the opposing Pokemon. Draco Meteor rounds it out, and it serves the same purpose that it does on White Kirim. It's a move that hits like a nuclear bomb and is meant to be used if necessary. You're dropping 2 stages of your special attack when you go for it, so it's not a move that should just be thrown around since you'll be locked into it because of the Toy Specs. Also, just in case you thought I forgot about it, Dialga's ability is Pressure. It isn't exactly easy to get your hands on a Dialga with the ability Telepathy, as you need a copy of Diamond and the Dreamworld app, and it's all a little complicated, so I just decided to leave that out. Well, that wraps up another best team. I gotta say, these competitive best teams are really fun to do, and I gotta say, shout out to the people that won the monotype teams. They're especially fun to make, so I hope you guys look forward to all of them. I know this dragon type team was a little obvious, as half the team are legendaries and the other half are pseudos, but that's bound to happen when you're dealing with the dragon type Pokemon. What did you all think of the team though? What would you do differently? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. I also have an anime channel called Mystic Sage where I create a bunch of anime speculations and reviews, so if you like anime content, consider checking that out. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and Nintendo content like shiny hunting, Showdown battles, Explorers of Sky, Zelda, Fire Emblem, Smash Brothers, Borderlands, you name it, I play it. Want to support me further in game club perks? Check out my Patreon. Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Pal491, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Awesome Lego, Jarrett Weezosted, and Sodden Grider did, and I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Gumbrian, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.